Neighbor Books seeks to build a culture where immigrants are welcomed and where first through third generation Americans feel like they truly belong in this country. How do we even begin to make that happen? One way is with children's books.
It doesn't sound all right. I know she thinks I'm weird.
Reading creates a unique and intimate bond between the reader and the character. This is especially true with children's picture books and novels, books that communicate clearly to all ages and all language abilities.
When you begin to make a connection to someone, when you start to talk to them, when you find out more about who they are, when you share stories, your nervousness goes away, your anxiety dissolves, and a connection, a positive connection begins. So, what's one of the best ways to make that positive connection? Books.
The Welcoming Library, for me, was a game changer in the conversation about immigration because we're not just politely asking that people add books to their collection. We're bringing them into rural and urban schools, libraries, and community centers. We're saying, look at the deep diversity. Look at that we now have an incredible book about the Ethiopian refugee experience. These titles tell us who we are as a country, and that transformation means the world to me.
Recently, the Welcome Library visited a Catholic school in my city, and one of the volunteer parents actually came to read a book to the students, and she pulled this book out of the shelf, Joseph's Big Ride. And when the parent finished the reading, a young boy stood up and threw his arms up and said, "This book is reading my mind." This student was a refugee in Kenya and stayed there for a while and integrated to United States not so long ago. And those are the really important things that we need to have Welcome Library in our schools, especially schools that have students of color and schools that do not have students of color, because of the fact that they're going to be learning other parts of the world, and also children who are their age who are really live in the same city that they might not know. And if you don't know who they are, you will know by reading such books like this.
Having books and a collection of books, many books, not just one book or two books throughout the year, but a collection of books that represents the many faces, the many colors, the many cultures. And it was especially powerful to me to see my students from places like Angola or Somalia or Iraq be able to pick up a book that had pictures of children that looked just like them.
What I've seen is that when you set up this shelf with these books in the lobby of a library, you will be amazed at the wide range of people who are drawn to it, who reach in, pull out a book, and start a conversation.
It all starts with the arrival of two red crates. In the first crate, you'll find what looks like a collection of oversized Tinker Toys. These wooden blocks, dowels, and flats come together piece by piece by piece to make a pop-up display case. The final touch is a banner that reads, "I'm your neighbor," in 10 languages. Now, inside the second crate are 30 curated picture books. The books tell the story of the journey, arrival, or generational lives of new arrival and new American families. Each book is an opportunity for a long-term citizen to meet a new arrival. And each book allows new arrivals to see themselves represented in community spaces.
For me, the heart of the Welcoming Library is the unique set of discussion questions that are in the back of each book. Those discussion questions were carefully drafted by I'm Your Neighbor Books. I'll share an example. In this Vietnamese American picture book, the question says, "The kids at school say that the father's English sounds like a thick, dirty river. The boy thinks his father's English sounds like gentle rain. Why do the boy and his fellow students see the father differently?" I think that questions like this can remove the barrier of unfamiliarity or discomfort. They lead you into the discussion about immigration, about welcoming, about commonalities, and the questions always bring us around to what we all share and what we have in common.
I have seen the impact that books that show diverse children and cultures can have on children, on their discoveries, their questions. So I think these books are absolutely essential for all children to be able to see themselves and each other represented in the literature that they read.
We are a changing country, not only in the diversity of the people that live here, but we are a changing country in our philosophy. We are a changing country in the way that we see ourselves in the future. And that the Welcoming Library is a library that reflects that helps me to remember that, and that encourages me every day to be a better teacher.
To be part of I'm Your Neighbor Books, it is a privilege, to be honest with you, because of the fact that we are making a difference in our education systems in our state.
This feels positive, this feels practical, and this feels like it really is making a difference.
We want more and more of these welcoming libraries on the road, changing the conversation about immigration book by book. So we hope you'll find a way to join us. Borrow a welcoming library, have a conversation, read a book, make a donation so another community can have a collection. The engagement with the welcoming library is helping people feel genuinely that we all belong in this diverse America.